Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to another edition of Talmbout Wrestling, right here on the Black Phoenix Network. I'm your host, the Untouchable J.R. Atkins, and this is your primary destination for wrestling conversation. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. First of all, let me apologize for last week. I wasn't here, obviously, right? And I didn't give any warning, and I didn't give any heads up, and I didn't give any explanation, and I didn't really say anything. And the reason for that was, in all transparency, I think last week was a little bit of a mental health weekend for me. Anxiety doing what it does as it tends to do. Yes, I suffer. But I am here for you today. I am here for you on this wonderful Saturday. And guess what? It is double or nothing weekend. So I couldn't leave you hanging here without giving you my predictions, right? And I haven't even talked about Dynamite for real, obviously now in 2 weeks. So we're going to kind of run through the happenings of Double or Nothing. I'm actually just going to do the picks. And as I do the picks, I'll discuss the things that have been happening in the build. So that's the way I'm going to handle that this week. So we don't run like another 2-hour show. We're going to get in, we're going to get out, we're going to get it done. All right. Because I got a wedding to go to in a little bit. So there's that. Not mine, but yeah. So again, thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for tuning in this week. Thank you for giving me the grace to take a week off because I needed to take a week off. I was going to do a Sunday. I was going to do a Saturday. I was going to do a Sunday. And there's neither of those days. I just really was up to it. But we're back now. We're back. We're feeling good. We're feeling focused. All right. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some wrestling. So first of all, again, if you're new here or if you're not new here and you just haven't done it yet, make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you share with somebody that loves wrestling. Okay. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you leave a rating and a review. Okay. Make sure you follow us here on Substack. Make sure you follow us here on YouTube if that's where you're watching. Make sure you're following on Spotify if that's where you're listening. Wherever you are, engage. And most importantly, make sure you leave a comment. Hit that comment section, whether you hit it over in YouTube, whether you hit it here in the Substack. Make sure you hit that comment section because I would love to hear from you all. You all make the show go. So let's get into it. But before we do, I know what you came for. It's time for the shirt of the day. You see it. Let me back it up. Actually, probably will be. This is the OG MVP tee. The first thing I think it's the first MVP T-shirt from WWE. It actually had a lot more. When I first got it, it had a lot more shine on it, obviously because it still had the reflective thing. I've watched it a few times now. Still looked good, but obviously you can see it doesn't have that reflective like it had at one point. So there's that. I've had this for a while, and somewhat appropriate. I don't know if he's particularly in the match, but I'm pretty sure he'll be involved, and we're going to talk about that as we go. All right. So again, thank you all. This is going to be a very AEW centric episode. There's some WWE stuff happening that I probably need to discuss. Like for some reason, Brock Lesnar is back, and now we're getting ready to do Brock over 2. What? So there's that, and then there's actually that's the only thing I really care about. Saturday night's main event is tonight. I don't even know where it is. Is it gonna be on YouTube or something? Is it on Peacock still? I don't even know where it's gonna be. Who knows? WWE has stuff everywhere. So, and again, none of the I can run through that real quick. Not for matches, but just to kind of, well, not for predictions per se, but just to kind of put out there what's happening tonight. So there's it. Let's see what we can see if I can pull it up. And because truth be told, I didn't even realize that that it was tonight. Obviously, as I always say, I do not keep up with. I don't watch WWE as much as I um, have in the past, and as much as I watch AEW now. So there's that. Let's see. This is the 44. That's a lot. So this one's fairly simple. You got Penta and Ethan Page for the Intercontinental Championship. That's big. You got the Vision versus the Street Profits for the Tag Team Championship. You got Rhea Ripley, Charlotte, Alexa Bliss taking on Jade Cargill, Mi Chen, and B Fab in a 6-woman tag. You got Becky Lynch and Sol Ruka, not for the Intercontinental Championship. So I guess you could call this an eliminator match or a. And you have Paige and Brie Bella versus the Irresistible Forces for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Um, very interesting show. They're none of the people who would make you watch are really on the show. This is a very interesting thing. Like looking at this, I guess Becky may. I mean, you got Becky and Rhea, but like that's it. So I'm not even sure who's gonna main event. Oh, excuse me. I'm not even sure who's gonna main event that. So that's an interesting twist there. But go figure. So let's get into this AEW, man. So this weekend, tomorrow, as a matter of fact, is Double or Nothing. I will be plopped down on my couch. Um, I don't know what I'm going to eat because I'm kind of doing a diet thing now. So that's not a diet, but I'm kind of watching my food and whatever. But plop down on my couch, watching me some Double or Nothing for 6 hours because I'm sure that's how long the show is going to be. Fortunately, Monday's Memorial Day, so I don't have to worry about trying to get up and go to work the next morning. So there's that. Always the beauty of Memorial Day. And Double or Nothing is the one that started it all. I'm not sure about that. The very first AEW pay-per-view, probably sure to say it's the very first AEW event, period. So always be. This particular edition has been strange because it hadn't been built the way that you would imagine for it to be so big. They've moved it like first one to not have like the casino theme necessarily. It's just in New York. So it's not even based around a casino like it has been in Vegas, and then even when it was in Arizona. Now it's in New York, and it's just cool. And it's a stadium show, so that's gonna be great as well. The build has been very interesting on a lot of notes. There's some it's gonna hit. The thing with AEW is like even if the build is weird, the matches are gonna hit. So you just don't. There's nothing to even worry about there. We're gonna get into it, so we can get like I said, we're gonna get in, get out, bing bang boom, keep them over. So let's start it out. These are my Double or Nothing 2026 predictions. Now I was trying to make it rhyme. So these next few matches, I'm assuming, were made on Collision, and I watched Collision, but I also was at work and I had some other stuff going on, so I really couldn't hear everything, so I might have missed some stuff. But we got matches on the 0 hour. Divine Dominion will do their tag team, their 5-minute eliminator match. The unlucky challengers are Zeta Steel and Viva Van. If they last 5 minutes, they will get a shot at the tag team championships. Chances are they will not, because who's going to beat Divine Dominion? So there's that. Because you would think we were building up the Brawling Birds to do it, but we're doing some weird stuff with the Brawling Birds, so that's that whatever. We have our obligatory Big Boom pre-show match with Big Boom, AJ, and QT Marshall, Boom and Doom. And the conglomeration, Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, and Roddy Strong, taking on the Shane Taylor promotions, which would be Shane Taylor, Anthony Ogogo, Sean Dean, Carly Bravo, Lee Moriarty, the whole gang of them. Glad to see Anthony Ogogo back. I'm looking forward to that, seeing Anthony Ogogo back in the ring. I don't watch ROH, so I'm assuming he's been back in the ring there. Kind of forget that he was even a part of STP, but good on him. Good on him. Looking forward to that. Next, and probably what'll be the main event of the pre-show. Death Riders, Claudio, Daniel Garcia, Wheeler Yuta taking on the Ops, Daniel, Anthony Bowen, Hook, and Shibata. That's probably definitely a win for Death Riders. And I don't think this is going to be one of those matches that bleeds into the main card. I don't think that's going to be a thing. This probably stems from the confrontation between Bowens and the Ops and the Death Riders. It's very interesting because like Death Riders are technically still heels, right? But because they're helping Will Ospreay, maybe they're kind of seen as the faces, and that's where this this match even comes from. Is because the Ops tried to size up Ospreay, and Death Riders came to his rescue. So that's how we got there. I didn't even make picks there. I mean, well, Divine Dominion, of course, for the win there. Bowman Doom versus Shane STP. That's of course Bowman Doom, and the Death Riders are of course going to take the Ops. I don't think those are in question. Pre-show matches are very rarely in question, so there's that. And then we get to the main card. Now let me pull up my notes so that I'm because usually what happens here is that I will forget who I actually picked. So starting with WrestleMania and continuing here, I will be taking notes of who I chose in these matches. So I'm gonna go Divine Dominion. We're gonna go boom, dome, conglomeration. See what I said? Death. All right. Next up, we got Kazucho, the biggest match, one of the biggest matches. There are like 3 matches on this card at least that I think are worth price of admission, and they're really more than that. But like again, the build is weird, but our main matches really hit. This is one of them because we are finally getting for the second time, which may or may not be the blow off. I'm not sure. We're finally getting Okada versus Takeshita. I love to see it. This match has been brewing for over not a year. It hadn't been a year yet, but this match has been brewing for months and months and months. It is May. That match has been brewing since the better part of 6, maybe even 9 months from the minute Okada joined the Don Callis family. I think we've always been building to this match eventually. So we're getting it here. Finally, Okada, Takeshita is going to be a banger. Call it a 5-star off top. There's no, come on. But my pick for this match is Takeshita. If for no other reason, because Okada has a win over him from the C2. I think Takeshita taking the international title off of Okada will be the move, basically. Okada has literally been a champion since like his first or second match in AEW. He has not existed without a title. He was a Continental Champion. And even when he lost the C2, he's still the international champion. So nice. Um, Build for that. Actually, I saw somebody post that the match is so anticipated, so highly anticipated, and it's like they made the match and then completely cooled it off because they really haven't done much of anything um, to build this hardly at all. Matter of fact, I don't think either one of them has been on TV all that much. Takeshita actually has. Takeshita had that match against Darby Allin a couple of weeks ago on Dynamite. Um, so they had been on TV, but they hadn't done a lot to like. And I guess the truth is, I don't think you need to. I think you've done a lot, and the match is made, and whoever wins, you know, excuse me, whoever wins wins. I probably will be yawning all through this, but that's okay. We're gonna get through it. Next up, we have FTR versus Cage and Cope in a tag team I Quit match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. And if Cope and Cage lose, they will disband as a tag team. They will retire as a tag team. Um, Again, um, another one of those really um, high profile matches. We've seen it twice. Both matches were really good. They're 1-1. This is the rubber match. I will definitely give the nod here to Cage and Cope for the win because it just needs to happen. It just needs to happen. And then we can go forward from there. Drop it in Wembley, maybe even before then, and then everything's good. Bill for this, they've been doing some stuff with it, but none of it's really necessary because I mean, again, the story is kind of built in, right? Um, like I said, they're 1-1. The feud has already been feuding. This is probably the blow off. And like I said, I think Cope and Cage should take this one home. Like I said, the Bill's been fine. But there's not much that you really needed to do because it's kind of like the Okada Takeshita thing. You could do more, you could talk more, you could have more promos. You probably could, but you really don't need to. The match is gonna speak for itself, and that's what we're gonna get. Next up, y'all know my jam. If there's one thing I love, it's an AEW clusterfuck. And that's what we got here. And this is even more clusterfucky than any other time. So we have Jericho, that we're still for some reason just calling Jericho. All right, whatever. The Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. That's close enough. And the Elite, Kenny Omega, Jack Perry, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson. Taking on the Demand, Ricochet, Bishop Khan, Toa Liana, and the Don Callis family, Mark Davis and Andrade, and the Dogs. But not just in a regular match. No. Not a tag team match. No. Stadium Stampede. And this is my jam. You notice there's nothing I love more than an AEW clusterfuck. Stadium Stampede. Anarchy in the arena. No holds barred matches. Pinfalls kind of anywhere matches. Blood and guts. You name it. If it's a clusterfuck, sign me up. Not what's that? Unsanctioned matches, lights out matches, whatever you call them. Sign me up for that. Absolute. Now, how this came together, very random. Very random. Not even sure. I don't know. Jericho Hurt Syndicate is like, oh, okay, that was a thing. We got here by Ricochet pretty much challenging Jericho to a Stadium Stampede match, and then them having to find teams, which is a very different dynamic than what it has been, which is, these two factions, these two warring factions that finally are peaking at the time for Stadium Stampede. Maybe not even a faction, but like maybe there's one faction and the other is a hodgepodge of people to face the faction. So um, we'll see how that goes. I'm going to give the win to Team Jericho because the demand and the Don Callis family and the dogs, the dog Callis demand, maybe I should call it that. I mean, that match is just typically made for that. And Jericho, at some point, you would think would need to get his lick back on Ricochet, um, unless we're really digging into like the idea of Jericho, the new gimmick being Jericho getting beat up by the demand every time he's on TV. So unless that's the case, I definitely see Team Jericho pulling this out. Um, but it's gonna be a whole lot of fun. I'm looking so much forward to it. It's gonna be awesome. Uh, Again, another random match that I. So we got Tekla defending the AEW World Women's Championship against Sheeta, Jamie Hayter, and Chris Statlander. Now, I'm not really sure how we got here or why we got here. Sheeta and Stat have been teaming for the last few weeks. Jamie Hayter is a part of the Brawling Birds. Stat and Sheeta were just vying for the tag team championships, and I think they were continuing the tag. Jamie Hayter lost to Tekla like a few weeks ago, maybe even a month or so. Maybe not. It may not have been that long, but it's been a minute. I don't know how we got here. I don't even know. I don't understand this match at all. Um, that being said, probably will still slap. You got all the pieces. You got Sheeta in there. You got Stat in there. You got Jamie Hayter. You got Tekla. You got the pieces. So the match is probably going to slap like they tend to do. It just does not change though. This was strange. Like, like, like none of them were building a case to challenge for the title at this show. So I don't understand at all what we are doing here. Uh, I, I just don't. It doesn't make any logical sense to me. But who are me? Who are me? Now I have to update my predictions because I forgot just that fast. Last thing I had was Cajun Coat. Of course, I said Team Jericho for the win there, and I think Tekla retains because this match is too thrown together for it not to be. Now, thus far, this is a lot of babyface wins right off the top. Takeshita, Cajun Coat, Team Jericho. Um, of those that I just named, Team Jericho, I could see losing, so that might be one that I miss. Uh, Followed by Takeshita maybe losing. That's so far. I keep going though. So yeah, I mean this match just kind of got thrown together, I guess, and they've been kind of building the story after the fact. I know we're doing a Sheeta Chris Statlander thing here, where they're partners, but like they're kind of reluctant partners, but they keep winning. So there's that. Um, I don't know if I don't know if I just don't know. I just don't know anything about it. This match is strange. This match is strange. Um, is it more to develop that story, or is it to establish um Tekla as this defending champion who can kind of win at all odds? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. To be honest, I don't. But my pick is still Tekla. My pick is still Tekla. Next up, we have the first round of the On Heart Cup. That's right. I mentioned earlier, I'm like, oh, that in years past, in last year and probably years past, Double or Nothing has been the culmination of the On Heart tournament. This year, it is the kickoff to the On Heart tournament. The brackets have been released. Let me see if I can find them. It should be very simple. There we go. That was easy. So for the men, let's run through this real quick. For the men, we got Will Ospreay versus Samoa Joe in the opening round. Mark Davis versus Jack Perry in the opening round. Swerve Strickland taking on Bandito in the opening round. Claudio Castagnoli and Brody King in the opening round. This field is stacked because you got Ospreay, Joe, Swerve, Brody, Claudio, Bandito. That is a packed that is a very much so a packed tournament. My money is on Will Ospreay winning the whole thing. And I think we're probably going to get a Swerve Ospreay final, which is going to be nutso. Okay. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Like I said, the smart money I think is on Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay beats Joe. Mark Davis maybe beats Jack Perry again because now he's the national champion. Because again, we didn't cover this, right? I don't think. Um, so Mark Davis probably beats Jack Perry. Ospreay beats Mark Davis. That makes a lot of sense because they have that history. Mark Davis beating Will Ospreay by doctor's decision is how we got into the Death Rider aspect of things as is. So I can see that being one of the mountains he has to cross to get to the finals. So Will Ospreay advances. Mark Davis probably advances. Swerve definitely beats Bandito. Brody probably beats Claudio, so that we get Swerve and Brody too. Swerve probably takes the win. We get Will Ospreay, Swerve in the final. Will Ospreay takes the dub. Goes on to All In to face whoever will be the champion. I don't know because I've heard some things, but that definitely seems to be where we are going um, with the On Hard tournament for the men. For the women, now this was a little more tricky. We has keyword here. Persephone taking on Hazuki. We had Willow Nightingale taking on Alex Windsor. We had Mina Shirakawa taking on Athena. And we had Sky Blue taking on Saray. Saray. Okay. Yeah. With a title match in London on the line, it's hard for me to call this one. And maybe it shouldn't be, but it is. And the problem here becomes Willow on this past Dynamite revealed that she is injured and it has to not only drop out of the Owen, but has to relinquish the TBS championship. That is wild. And it's actually wild that we don't have a match to determine a new one here. So that kind of feels like it should be a thing, but all right. I can't call this one. When Willow was in it, I felt like maybe Willow was the favorite. But other than that, I don't know. Do we just do Athena? Because I mean, Athena and Tekla could be cool. I think Tekla's already beaten Mina probably. Sky Blue is in Triangle of Madness, so that would be a weird thing. Saray Saraya, Ray, Saraya, Persephone, Hazuki are all kind of unknown. Maybe ROH talent damn near. Whoever the wild card is, maybe they take it. And I reserve that judgment to see whoever the wild card is, and that may change my pick on the entire tournament. But I can't pick it the way that I picked the men's because I don't think I know the women's pecking order enough. Um, so we'll see what happens there. Um, and that being said, 3 of those matches will be taking place at Double or Nothing. Those 3 matches are, where are you? Come on back here. Those 3 matches are Samoa Joe versus Will Ospreay, a hell of an opening round match. Bandito versus Swerve, which is going, if it don't get 5 stars, I mean, nothing I'm really going to do there, but I'd be shocked. Okay. I'd be shocked. And on the women's side, Athena and Mina Shirakawa. Now, I think this was going to be the Willow Windsor match. It definitely was advertised for Double or Nothing. So maybe they just decided to slot this one in. This is the next biggest match in the tournament, at least in the opening round of the tournament. Maybe they thought to just slide it into the front of that and throw that Athena Mina thing on there. Like so they're the next 2 biggest names in the tournament. So maybe they just thought to slide it on the pay per view in the place of. Can't be mad at that. So I just gave my predictions on the entire Owen tournament. So of course my picks for these matches tell themselves. So I say Will Ospreay, of course, on this road to All In. Swerve definitely beats Bandito. I've charted their path to the finals and all the way through. That's how I think it's gonna play out. And every week that it happens, I probably will come over here and say I told you so. Go figure. And Athena and Mina, see that one's a little tougher. There's always one. There's always one that I'm not sure about. And I think this might be the one. I don't. There's no favorite. There's no favorite in the women's. I'm gonna go with Mina. I'm gonna go with Mina. Hard pressed to bet against Athena, but if Athena isn't gonna win the whole thing, I don't think there's a point to advance her. And who's waiting on the other side of that bracket? Let me look at that. That might go a long way too. Okay, so Mina beats Athena. If Sky Blue beats Saray, then Mina will get Sky Blue in the semifinals. I don't know who would fall into the place for the other side. That's interesting. Not really sure there. Not sure what we're doing. Oh, not sure what we're doing. All right. Anywho, yeah. So sticking with Mina as my pick on that one. Are we at 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? So we are 10 matches deep. We got 2 left. Jon Moxley versus Kyle O'Reilly for the Continental Championship. It will have no time limit. Pretty sure Mox is retaining. Kyle has had his number at every twist and turn. Either he's tapping out, either he is tapping out. Uh, I don't want to portray him as like slime or scum, but this is what it is. So we have Moxley, Kyle O'Reilly. I think this is where Mox gets his win back. I'm betting against Kyle on this. I'm betting against Cool Kyle because I'm pretty sure this is where Mox gets his win back for tapping out to Kyle twice and running to a time limit draw on Dynamite this week. So putting that, giving that to Mox, giving it to Mox. There's no need to draw that out. And in our main event, we have Darby Allin, the champion, taking on MJF, the challenger. And if MJF loses, they cut his hair. You know, this is another one of those matches that is going to be wild and crazy. They have good chemistry, of course. And in having these little people with me, or not with me, but where I just went there. The Darby Allin MJF match is going to sliz out. Again, they have great chemistry. The hair thing was kind of weird, but you know, MJF's vanity, while typically unspoken, you kind of know it. Because every time he goes, like I've said before, every time he leaves and comes back, he got new hair. So clearly he cared about the hair. So I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I again, I've seen people kind of say like, well, the hair thing doesn't make, it's kind of underwhelming. I mean, there were things, there was only so much. I mean, there was only so much really that you could have done. Um, and I don't know if anybody would have been satisfied with anything because that's not how wrestling fandom works these days. Nobody's happy with anything. We just watch the stuff and then complain about it. But um, it is what it is. Uh, I'm curious. The over under now is like, is the match going to end in the headlock takeover? Um, Maybe not. But I've said this all along that this was all a win um, for Darby. I mean, I'm sorry, a win for MJF. That's my pick, of course. I said that a while ago that this was a good kind of not placeholder, but like he's defending the title so much because he um, won't have it long. Um, so I mean, it's a Max. It's a win for Max. It's not even a thought. They're not going to cut his hair, and they're definitely not going to. And they're going to put the belt back on him heading into Wembley. And then we'll see how Wembley shakes out, but definitely see that coming. Um, those are my picks. I think. Am I done? Was that it? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 matches in total. This show is going to be astronomically long. I don't know why Tony does it. Tony does it. But it is what it is. Those are my predictions. Dynamite has been great for these last couple of weeks. So has Collision. We've had some really good matches. Let me just scan through here. Crazy. All right. Crazy. Kevin Knight is further descending into heeldom. All his promos sound heelish, or like they're holding back the heelishness, and you're just waiting for him to do some shit. Um, Kevin Knight did do an open challenge where we got the return of Brian Cage, which was also dope. We had the Ops. We had Will Ospreay taking on Ace Austin. We had the Ops still trying to recruit Ospreay and saying, "Well, if you ain't gonna join us, we're gonna beat your ass in the Owen." So there's that. Um, Triangle Man is better. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So Darby and Takeshita was wild, and then we got the contract signing for the match. AEW Nothing with his hair, with MJF's hair on the line. So we're moving right on. Collision. We got another championship defense this time against Sammy Guevara on Collision. You know, I recently think I had a thought. Or when was the last time the world champion, the actual world champion, was on Collision? That may have been not the first time, definitely not the first time. Feels like the first time. So there's that. Um, what happened on Collision last weekend? Conglomeration beat STP in a trios eliminator match, trio side eliminator match. Willow in Red Velvet, which again, you just had a match. Now you're hurt. Maybe you got hurt in that match. Not sure. Of course, Willow retained there. This is Collision, so Ciampa and Mark Briscoe got into a fight. That played out on this week's Dynamite. I'll get to that in a second. Uh, Anthony Bone, Samoa Joe had a tag match that they won. Divine Dominion, of course, squashed a couple of people, Alley Catch and Kaya McKinney. We got some weirdness with Leo Rush and whatever he got going on with his situation. And then in the main event of Collision, we had no, that wasn't the main event. Rascals taking on Mark Davis and the Dogs. Of course, Mark Davis and the Dogs took the win because they're going into Stadium Stampede. So of course they need the momentum. And our main event was Darby versus Sammy Guevara for the world title. Very strange decision, I'm sure. But curious to see how it works out with the little child monk child. Again, I don't even know where I just went there. But yeah, that match was great. The Darby Sammy match was insane, as of course you would imagine it would be. And then this past week on Dynamite, we got again, it was a hell of a show, hell of a go home show. 3 hours because we had to do the Collision right after the Dynamite. We got the Bucks and Jericho taking on Mark Davis, Andrade, and Ricochet. Don Callis family and Ricochet get the win. Again, this leads me to think because this literally has been every time he hadn't won since he's been back. I don't believe, and he's getting his ass kicked every week. I do think that Stadium Stampede gives the room for him to win there because he probably doesn't win. Somebody else probably does. So we'll see. Then we had a brawl basically with everybody involved, and then everybody else came out. We had a good old brawl between the Bucks of Jericho, and Don Callis family and Ricochet, and all the cohorts on those teams. So we got a really, really small preview of what Sunday will look like in the Stadium Stampede match. Next up, we had Tommaso Ciampa taking on Mark Briscoe in a bout of violence. Anything goes, blood, sweat, tears, cheese graters, feet, staples, chair. Did I say chairs? I don't even know if I said chairs. Just violence on top of violence on top of violence. I'm here for it because, again, I love a good clusterfuck. This counts as a clusterfuck. Some people might not. I understand why. So, I get it. Um, we had a nice little brawl between Bandito and Swerve. That's about it. Then we had this backstage segment with Willow where she describes that she injured her right shoulder, needs to vacate the TBS championship, and will not be in the Owen. Hate to see it. Hate to see it. She was on such a good run, such a positive run. And now this happened. So sorry to hear that. For Willow. And then I'm curious who's going to be the next AEW TBS champion. So go figure. Next we had John Moxley, Kyle O'Reilly, part I don't know 2, 3, 4, who knows. We're getting the final rematch. I'm probably sure is the final rematch in Continental in at Double or Nothing, and it's no count out. Well, no time limit. I don't think it's no count out, but it is a no time limit match. So, they went to a draw on Dynamite. That's how we get to the match at the pay per view. He had Athena in the Triangle of Madness taking on Thunder Rosa, the Brawling Birds, and Mina Shirakawa. Athena in the Triangle of Madness get the dub. I don't. Well, never mind. And we finally get in our main event Darby and Speedball in another insane match. Darby is running himself into the ground. Now we're getting to the point where we're starting to see the wear and tear and the effect that it's having. So it's rope a dope. He basically is rope a doping himself. Kevin Knight again after the match gives this weird promo speech thing that kind of like, oh, okay, that was weird. He's gonna be a heel. He's gonna be a heel. I feel like he's struggling to cut babyface promos because he's gonna be a heel. I could be wrong. Next up, we had Shibata and Will Ospreay in a match that should not even be possible in 2026, but here we are. Of course, we got Will Ospreay getting the dub. We had a promo from Cope and Cage basically talking about their match Sunday. We had our typical Roosh squash. We had our typical 5-minute eliminator from Divine Dominion. And of course, we had our earned AEW World Tag Team Championship match with FTR taking on Roger Strong, Orange Cassidy. So, of course, FTR got the dub there because we're going to Cope and Cage in on pay per view. Go figure. Was that Collision? That was Collision. That was Collision. So that's the happenings in AEW. That's kind of the lead in to what's going to be happening on Sunday night at Double or Nothing. I would tell you all the places you can watch it, but they don't pay me for that. I'm going to be watching on HBO Max because I haven't had any issues out of it. I've seen people say they have other issues in other places. I don't have that issue at all because I open computers all the time. So go figure. But thank you for tuning in to this very apparently sleepy edition because I've been yawning and zoning out this whole time. So thank you for tuning into another sleepy edition of Talking About Wrestling right here on the Black Fitness Network again. Thank you for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a rating, leave a review. Do all the things. And most importantly, make sure that you follow. Make sure that you follow here on the Black Fitness Network so that you never miss, that you never, ever will miss whenever we drop. There's some programming notes coming up soon. And again, this is why you got to be tuned in. There's some programming notes coming up soon. If you're subscribed, you will see those. If not, you'll see them when you see them, right? Some things that are going to change a little bit, some things that I'm trying to do or not trying to do, and the way I want to do them. So stay tuned. Big things are happening. Or maybe not big, but things are definitely happening. So again, thank you to everybody who has listened thus far, putting up with me, taking a week off, and now being sleepy like I am. This is crazy. I don't want to say it because if I say it, then I got to do it. Again, could not do it without you guys. So without further ado, thank you for hanging out with me this Saturday. I'm your host, the Untouchable J.R. Atkins, tired AF, and this has been Talking About Wrestling. And until next time, we are Out.